Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 1 day time frame for Bitcoin, because right now we are potentially breaking out of this descending channel that Bitcoin has been consolidating in here for the past 7 months. Now, in the case that this actually ends up breaking out to the upside, it means that our base case on the channel here has been correct. Because what I've been saying for months at this point is that Bitcoin is going to keep consolidating here and eventually break out of the top of this descending channel. So yes, even when we were all the way at these lows and people were saying that the bear market was, I kept saying over and over again, guys, we did not lose the descending channel as a level of support. And therefore, I think we are basically just ranging and will still eventually break out of the top here. So honestly, if this is actually the breakout, that is quite a surreal moment, because especially for you guys who have been watching my channel for the past 6 months or whatever, this has basically been the base case the entire time. For now, we haven't really confirmed this breakout. So yeah, let's not celebrate too early yet. So for now, let's just take a look at the key things we should be looking at when confirming a breakout to make sure if it is actually a breakout or if it is just a fake out. Now, the first thing we always look at is if we get a confirmed candle close above the point of the breakout. In this case, we would need to see a confirmed candle close above 67,000 US dollars, roughly speaking. So that would be the first bullish confirmation signal here. Secondly, if you are a bull, you would love to see some huge volume coming into the market here, because right now we are basically just seeing average volume in the market, as you can see at the bottom of my screen right here. So we aren't really seeing a huge spike in volume, because that is a second way to confirm a breakout if it is actually happening. And the third and last thing is that you would get the confirmed candle close above the point of the breakout, but then come back down to actually retest this and flip it into a level of support, then blasting off from there. Now, not every breakout is going to be picture perfect where you have all three of these bullish confirmations, but all three of these things could be things that you are looking out for in the charts to confirm that this is actually happening on the 1 day time frame. For example, if we take a look at the 4-hour time frame here, this is slightly concerning. Like, you have this massive spike in volume on the 4-hour time frame, but the candle didn't break out here. And sometimes when you have a huge spike in volume here, but you don't have those other signals for a breakout, it actually turns out to be a reversal signal. Now, obviously, this is not me saying like we need to reverse to the downside here, but just to give you an example, right here, you also saw that big spike in volume, and this actually turned out to be the exact low at about 58,000 recently, 59,000. So that's just something to be aware of. Sometimes these big spikes in volume turn out to be the actual reversal signal. So that is why you always need to look for multiple things to actually confirm your breakout when you are doing your analysis. Either way, for now, I would say, yeah, this is clearly an uptrend that we are in right now. And therefore, so long as we do not lose this trend line here, as far as I'm concerned, we are simply in an uptrend and we should continue to expect higher price action. If I take a look at the Fibonacci levels here, we broke out above this Fibonacci golden pocket. Then over the weekend, we basically retested this. And you may remember as well that I said the ideal scenario for the bulls is if we are basically just chopping around above this Fibonacci golden pocket. And then, of course, most likely would be a blast off to the upside, so long as we hold above 62K. So we blasted off to the upside and now broke above this 0.786 Fibonacci level, sitting at 65.6K for the Bitcoin price. Came back down, retested it, and are right now on the lower time frames, just resuming to the upside. So if we actually zoom into the 1 hour time frame, you can see that this is some extremely volatile price action on this lower time frame here. And I would say a short-term warning signal could be if we break back below this 0.786 Fibonacci level. In the case that this happens, I would expect more bearish price action to come after that, potentially even retesting this Fibonacci golden pocket at about 62K, roughly speaking. But yeah, as I said, for now, we are simply in an uptrend, and therefore we should expect the price to keep going up here until either one of two things happen. So the first thing being that we reach a critical level of resistance for example, this big level of resistance right here from 67.5K all the way up to 70K, because in this range here, we should expect some kind of resistance. Like I would be completely shocked if we completely blast through 70,000 without any kind of resistance in this range. And another thing to look out for is actually the RSI momentum indicator, for example, on this 4-hour time frame, because this is now already in deep overbought territories at 75. Of course, the RSI is overbought whenever we are above 70. And this does mean that there is somewhat limited room to the upside. Now, obviously, right now we are in a strong uptrend on this latest 4-hour candle, especially. We should expect the RSI to somewhat cool off here sometime soon. Although, yes, of course, it can go deeper into overbought territory, of course. If we now take a look at the 1 week time frame on this RSI momentum indicator as well, this is still breaking out to the upside, as we basically perfectly called on the channel here, because we actually called exactly when we broke out from this descending line of resistance for the RSI, saying that that could be the reversal signal in the charts. And this actually aligned with this recent low here at about 54,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And of course, ever since that moment, we have seen basically nothing but upside here on the 1 week time frame. So yeah, the breaking of this RSI downtrend has been a beautiful call, I am not gonna lie. But either way, let's move on to the 1 month Bitcoin liquidation heat map. Yesterday, I talked about this big pocket of liquidity here, saying that it was very likely that we were going to take out this level of liquidity because the price was already so close to it. And typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. Now, of course, we had liquidity to the upside and to the downside. So for example, there's still some liquidity here at about 58.7K, roughly speaking. And we had that liquidity all the way up at 67,000 US dollars. However, as I said yesterday as well, it was more likely that we grab this liquidity to the upside because we are in a strong uptrend right now. Now, to actually see where the biggest level of liquidity is, we need to zoom out to the 6-month time frame, because here you can see that most of the liquidity is actually at 72.4K for the Bitcoin price. And yes, I do think that if we break out from this descending channel, it becomes very likely that we end up taking out this level of liquidity as well at 72.4K. And lastly, let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we saw a net inflow of $550 million from these Bitcoin ETFs, which is actually a massive inflow. And actually, the last time we saw a big inflow like that, it was actually a short-term top for Bitcoin. So this could actually be seen as a bit of a warning signal. But the big difference here is that last time we saw inflows and we saw some bearish signals at the same time. But this time, I'm not seeing those, for example, bearish divergences and stuff like that show up in the charts just yet. And therefore, I can't really say that a $500 million inflow is actually a bearish signal, right? Very often we've seen these Bitcoin ETFs get it completely wrong. But right now, I'm not seeing those bearish signals in the same way as the last time when we got those massive inflows. So therefore, I have to conclude that this is basically just bullish. So this has been today's market update. If you want to trade Bitcoin or crypto with leverage, I highly recommend you check out the links in the video description, because here you can trade crypto with leverage with the lowest fees in the crypto space. And I personally trade on these platforms as well. So go check that out. But regardless, if you do end up checking out those platforms or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one. By the way, guys, sorry my voice is kind of messed up, but I'm very, very sick, so hopefully I get better soon. See you guys tomorrow.